Hi everyone, thank you for joining. My name is Jennifer. I'm a tutor at the Garcia Center and I attend Texas A&M University Corpus Christi. Today I'm going to be going over some math for students ages 9 through 10 which are in 3rd and 4th grade. I'm going to be going over geometry with the focus on describing quadrilaterals and classifying quadrilaterals. After the video there will be a small quiz. This quiz can be found on the link above. The quiz will consist of what I'm about to go over. For more videos like this, don't forget to join us on Mondays and Wednesdays at 12:30 p.m. Let's get started with grade 3 geometry, and we are going to be describing quadrilaterals. So here we need to fill in the blanks to describe each type of quadrilateral. So first we're going to look into quadrilaterals. A quadrilateral is a shape that has blank sides and blank angles. This would be 4 sides and 4 angles. There are 2 types of quadrilaterals, which are trapezoids and parallelograms. So a trapezoid has blank pairs of parallel sides. So we draw a trapezoid right here on the side. So let's draw one real quick. This is what a trapezoid would look like. So it has blank pairs of parallel sides. So what is parallel? Parallel means that 2 lines will never meet. So if you would continue these lines, they would never touch. So what about these lines? If you look at these lines, if you continue to go, they are going to cross over right here. So that is not parallel. If we take a look at this and we look at these 2 lines, we see if we continue, it would continue to be parallel. If we continue these, it will end up crossing eventually. So that means it only has 1 pair of parallel sides, which are these. Now let's look at the parallelogram. A parallelogram has blank pairs of parallel sides. So, an example of a parallelogram is a rectangle. So let's draw a rectangle right here. That's an example of a parallelogram. So let's look at these 2 sides, this one and this one. If we continue to go, it will never meet, so that is parallel. Now let's look at these. If we continue to move on these, it is also parallel. So this means it has 2 pairs of parallel sides. Okay, let's continue. Now we're going to look into types of parallelograms. So, a rectangle is a parallelogram with opposite or all angles equal and opposite or all sides equal. So let's look into this more. So a rectangle is a parallelogram. So it has 2 pairs of parallel sides with opposite or all angles equal. So let's draw a rectangle right here. So we have 2 pairs of parallel sides. We just looked into that. Now we want to know if the angles are equal. So these are the angles. So if you look at these angles, you can see that all the angles are equals. They would be considered a right angle, just like this. This is a right angle, and they're all right angles. So this answer would be all angles are equal. And what about the sides? Are they equal or no? If we look at the sides, we can see that these 2 are equal and these 2 are equal. But are they all equal? No. These are longer than these. So that means its opposite sides are equal. So this would be opposite. So now let's look into a rhombus. A rhombus is a parallelogram with opposite or all angles equal and opposite or all sides equal. So let's look at a rhombus. So here we have a rhombus. So a rhombus has to have all four sides equal. I tried my best trying to draw a rhombus, but this is what I can get. So let's look at the angles. If we look at the angles, we can see that these are wider and these are smaller angles. Okay, let me go ahead and try to draw it one more time. So if we look at this one, we see that these are wider and these are smaller angles. So that would mean that the opposite angles are equal. If you see that, they're opposite from each other and they're equal. So that would be opposite. Okay, now let's look into the sides. So if we look at the sides, we can see they're all the same. They're all equal. So this is all sides are equal. Now let's look into the last part. We have a square is both a blank and a blank. So if we look at this, a square has all equal sides. And if you were to rotate this, you can see that that is a square. So a square is a rhombus and a square is a parallelogram. And that will be it for describing quadrilaterals. Now let's get into grade 4 geometry, and we are going to be classifying quadrilaterals. We need to classify the quadrilaterals. We have square, rectangle, rhombus, parallelogram, and trapezoid. So let's look at the first one. If we take a look at this and look at the sides, let's compare the sides. So let's do these two. If we would continue on these, we would see that these sides are parallel. And if we continue these, we would see that they would never meet. It would continue just like that. So they would never meet. So this has two pairs of parallel sides. And what is something that has two pairs of parallel sides? That is a parallelogram. So this would be a parallelogram. Now let's look into the next one. If we look at these two sides, we can see that those are parallel. And if we look at these, if we were to continue going up, they would meet. So that means this only has one pair of parallel sides. So that would make this a trapezoid. Let's look at the next one. If we look at this, we can see that all sides are equal and they're all parallel. The opposite sides are parallel and these two are parallel. So this would be a square. Let's look on to the next one. If we look at the sides opposite from each other, we can see that they're parallel. They would never meet. Same goes for this. It is parallel. But if we look at the sides, we can see that these two sides are equal and these two sides are equal. So that would make it a rectangle. Let's go on to the next one. Again, we can see here that this only has one pair of parallel sides. So that would make it a trapezoid. Now let's go on to the last one. If we take a look at the angles of this shape, we'll see that these angles are the same and these angles are the same. And the sides are all the same length. But if the opposite angles are equal to each other, this would make it a rhombus. And that is it for classifying quadrilaterals. That's all I have for you today. Remember, for more videos like this, join us on Mondays and Wednesdays. And don't forget, kids, wash your hands, stay home if possible, and if you are out, try to stay at least 6 feet away from others. Thank you.